Well, I share probably a lot of the same concerns you have over SB 1070. But when I think about the best ways to counteract or to push back against that, the argument that there are other laws that trump U.S. law, I don't feel like that's going to be the best way to fight it long term. I mean, would you agree with that?
Not domestically, but internationally, will.
That holds more clout internationally than it does in the U.S.
Right. Internationally, the United States responds to international pressure. If you don't believe me, Hillary Clinton announced a lawsuit against SB 1070, not in the United States, not in Arizona, not in Washington, D.C., in Quito, Ecuador. Why would she go and do an announcement in Quito, Ecuador about what they're doing over here? Because they care about what the other countries think about the United States.
Right. I think maybe there's a tendency, being in the United States, to say international laws, we have our laws, and that's what we're going to make decisions on. But you're right that outside of the country, the international law and the what happens in Geneva is much more important in a sense, is it not?
It is very important in the sense that the United States is not in isolation in the world. They hold global trade throughout the world, and one of the things that's really hurting Arizona today, and eventually the United States, is that, for example, there's only 30 people a day coming into Aeromexico, an airline that used to be overfilled every day with two flights a day. Now they only have one flight a day. U.S. Air basically stopped their flights into Arizona. So economically, tourism is down like 15% in Arizona this year. And economically, you will suffer for your actions of racist actions. I know it's a lot of frustration, and I know some frustration with the federal government. However, the federal government could take care of all of this simply by charging people $1,000 to come into the United States. The Coyotes charge $2,000 to $3,000, and they walk you for 3 days, or 4 or 5 days.
If you make
it, or get raped, or get beaten up,
yeah,
or get assaulted. So you could basically destroy a great percentage of the narco trafficking that is being utilized right now through the desert by just legalizing it and allowing the market to determine how it works. A lot of people they say they're capitalists, but they don't believe in the market. When we opened a work center about 8 years ago, people thought that we're going to attract people all over from Argentina, Ecuador and Mexico, and that you're going to have thousands and thousands of undocumented flocking there. Well, the first day, the predictions were almost right. We had 350 people. The second day, we had about 300 people. By the end of 3 weeks, we had 120 people. And it stayed like that for about a year. Why? Because there were 60, 70 jobs coming out. So people would work every other day. Now, there's no jobs, so we have 40 people. So the market will take care of itself.
It's literally an example of the market in that sense.
Yes.
So maybe all of the free market conservatives that are so adamant about it need to let that play a role in what they do in Arizona. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. They should get away all their fears that comes from a lot of I don't want to call it racism, but it's a fear of the
what's different?
Xenophobia. Get rid of their xenophobia and realize that they're human beings and they're players in the market. And without them, the economy of the United States is going to collapse.
What did you think about in Utah? This list of supposed illegal aliens was released, and some of them are now afraid that people are coming to their houses. Some of them are getting phone calls day and night. Is there a fear of that in Arizona, and what do you think about what happened in Utah?
In Arizona, it's happening already.
So there's lists being released already, and people are getting harassed.
Well, this is the deal. Sheriff Joe goes and does employer sanctions, and when he does that, he has a list of about 10, 15 people they're looking for. So what they do, they go and look for them wherever they live, if they were not there, and then they look for their families.
Right.
That's happening today. So this is something that was done unofficially, and that's why they're being punished, because they didn't go through the right channels. But it's happening through the right channels today.
What do you think, kind of in closing here, in the next year, the outlook is on SB 1070?
I think SB 1070 is going to be partially enjoined, and some of the other parts are going to pass through. I think at the end it's going to go to the Ninth District Court, and the Ninth District Court is probably end up the Supreme Court, and it's going to be the Supreme Court in a few years from now. They're going to decide. In the meantime, if they do not, if they allow police to basically stop people because of the way they look as one of the reasons, then we took a huge step backwards in the United States. Where even the Miranda rights are not being respected anymore, and anybody and everybody is going to get stopped by the color of their skin. We'll be getting closer to South Africa. I think that the judge is going to try to play politics and try to please the people pro SB 1070 on the one hand, and then
on
try
both
to please.
sides.
But yeah, that's what she's gonna do.
Interesting. Salvador Reza, thank you so much for speaking with us today.
Thank you.